Hey guys, and welcome back to the Spruce and Linen channel. I'm Janelle, and today we're gonna talk a little bit more about market prep. So I did that part 1 market prep video, which you can watch from a couple weeks ago. And today we're just gonna talk about some of the things I'm thinking about going into this, being my first market ever, things I've experienced as a customer at a market, and just kind of what I'm doing to prep everything and make sure that it's the best that it can be. So I just want to talk about sales and being too salesy at markets. I think you have to be really aware of the people that walk into your booth. So if you kind of have sort of a set greeting that you say, hi, how are you? Do you have any questions? That kind of thing, like just ease them into it. If they seem uninterested in talking to you, don't make them talk to you. When I'm at a market booth, it's kind of like going, in a sense, like kind of like going to a gallery. Like you kind of want to just walk around and browse. For sure, it's important to have a friendly person greet you and let you know that they are there if you need any help or have any questions. But for the most part, again, from my point of view, I just don't want to be sold to so much, you know? So that's something to think about going into a market. Read your customer. So when they, or your potential customer. So when they come into your booth, try to read the vibe, you know, like talk to them a little bit. If they seem like they're giving you very short answers and kind of trying to look away, just let them be. They might be like me and be an introvert and just want to browse in peace. That doesn't mean they're not going to buy or they're not interested in your work. It might just mean that they don't necessarily want the social aspect with it. Just a thought. So another thing that I've been thinking about that I think is really important is logo. So this is a chance, and I think it was Elise Joy on Instagram. I will link her below. She has a podcast as well called Elise Gets Crafty. And she talks about how when she goes to markets, she treats them as marketing, right? She doesn't treat it as like, oh, I'm gonna go make a ton of sales. She treats it more as an investment in marketing, because the thing is, where else are you gonna get in front of that many people all at once, face to face, to see your brand and see your work? Not very many places. So even if they don't buy, it can be brand awareness. It can just be letting people know that you exist and that you make this cool thing. And there's a lot of these people who may have never found you on Instagram or Facebook. So it is really good to do stuff in real life. And so that's kind of how I'm trying to go into this. And even though I obviously really hope and pray that I make some money from this, I can also kind of rest knowing that if I go into this as a marketing opportunity and just kind of a getting my brand out there situation, then it puts a lot less pressure on you and probably will help you to be a little bit less salesy as well. So when I talk about logo, I mean, put your logo on everything that you can. Now, I'm not saying plaster it, you know, really big on everything. I'm just saying every piece should have a tag that has your logo on it, your website, what are your social media links and all that stuff, because even if someone is in there and doesn't buy anything and is just looking around, if they can grab that tag and look at it and all of a sudden they're like, oh, she's on Instagram, let me just, you know, like that can build those relationships. If someone is too shy or doesn't have the budget to buy your stuff right now, but they want to follow you, that's a really great opportunity to just like make them aware of where you are online too. So for me, that means, again, I'm gonna have a tag on every single weaving. I'm gonna have a banner with my logo on it. I'm gonna have business cards available throughout my booth. I'm gonna have packaging that has my logo stamped on it. All those different things. Those are all opportunities, again, not to make it too loud and obnoxious, but just those little hints of seeing that logo over and over again will help people remember your brand in the future. And also, you don't want them to walk out of your booth with, say in my case, a woven wall hanging in a bag that's unmarked with no tags on anything, and then by the time they get home they forget what your business was called. So that's your opportunity. Stick a business card in there, have tags on everything. Another thing I've heard that is a great thing to do at markets is to do kind of different sales and deals. So for instance, I have mini woven wall hangings that I'm gonna sell. Let's say they're gonna be sold for $60 or 2 for $100. So that would be a really good deal for someone. They're like, oh, I can save $20 by buying 2. So that's another thing you can do to kind of spur on the spur on the sales a little bit. And if it was a longer market, maybe you want to just do a sale in the last couple of hours, whatever it is, just think about those things too for your market. Another thing to think about is the layout of your booth. So generally market booths aren't really that big, and there tends to be, at least the ones that I've been to, a lot of young moms with strollers, or maybe people with walkers, or just people who have a lot of bags, like whatever it is. You want to make it really easy for people to get in and out of your booth. So I'm leaving mine fairly open as much as I could with the space that I have, but that's another thing to think about. Can a stroller get into your booth? Like if it's one you actually have to walk into, make sure it's big enough that a stroller can come in, because you want to be inclusive. You want people to come into your booth. Another thing that I've been thinking of and planning is having things in various price points. So to have those price points that are kind of like low, medium, and high. So low being something in the price range that someone might walk in there and be like, it's a no-brainer, I'm gonna buy that. And then, because maybe they want to support your brand, but they can't afford to buy the more expensive things, right? So just keeping in mind all those things, and at a market where they're seeing so many other different booths and they feel like they can only spend a little bit at each one that they really love, give them that opportunity to still buy something, even if it can't be, the highest price point thing. And then, of course, decor. So you just want to make sure that your booth represents your brand. So that means decorating it. Like, don't just kind of go in there and chuck your stuff in there and call it good. I'm wanting to create sort of an ambiance and an atmosphere in my booth to almost be like, if I had a store, what would I want it to look like? What would I want it to feel like? And obviously this is on a much smaller scale than a store. What can you do to make it more you, more your brand, something that you would be excited to see if you went to a market? So for me, that means greenery. I have a bunch of garland that I'm using. It means, having that wood grain in there. Like, I love black, white, wood grain. Those are like 3 elements I love. And then you mix in the greenery in there and it just feels fresh and bright and modern, but still very welcoming, and a wide variety of people would like that. So I have my stands that are wood. I'm gonna have white curtains behind them. I'm gonna have garland along the kind of walls of the booth. Greenery garland, so very spring, because that's when the market is. And then I'm also gonna include some lights. But anyway, decorate your booth in a way that gets you excited. So that might mean a little more effort. If you have to go really simple, that's fine too, but make it something that you're proud of, and make it something that you would be so happy to stumble across if you were at a handmade market. And I guarantee if you do that, there's gonna be other people that are really excited too. And then also you're kind of just attracting probably your ideal audience if you do that, because if you love it and they love it, they're probably gonna like what you make, right? So you wanna make it so people want to come into your booth. I'm actually quite excited. The closer the market gets, the more excited I'm getting, which I'm very surprised at, because I always said I never wanted to do markets, but now I'm excited because it's fun to show your work, especially when you're so proud of it, right? Like, you want to show it to the world. So if you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell to get notifications when I post new videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. You can't see it, but I just spit on myself. It's really attractive.